We'll continue the install of DSfW, the OES11 version of DSfW. Right now we're on the provisioning wizard, so we're pretty much done with the install of DSfW. I've got some logs ready to go to tail, just so we can see as we go along doing the provisioning what will happen here. That was the YaST, NDSD log. Not a lot's going to be happening on this one. We'll just move this one to the back here. The NDSDC init log, we should see a lot on there, and the provisioning log, which will be created. So we'll go ahead and run this, start the provisioning wizard. You can scroll all the way down, and you can do a run all or run individual piece. We'll do a run all, get this warning here, and just let this roll. So you'll see now if we go back to our, so what's here, this is actually doing the pre-check, and we'll be updating the provisioning log. So if we look in here, once we see that provisioning log, we know we're onto the provisioning. This is the health check before, so it's not really doing the provisioning yet, just seeing that everything's healthy. Even if it's not all completely healthy, or reports back that it's not healthy, he still might be able to proceed depending on what the error that is returned. It might be a valid error that you can something that you can skip, just depending on what it is. You just have to play it by ear. But anyway, we're still waiting here for that provision log. Oh, you know what? Provisioning. There we go. That's why I didn't get started. So there we go. It's now we're creating our DNS objects, and so we have all these LDIF files that it's generating. These are all of our records. So it's going through generating all the records for the zone, and it will be importing them as well. So here is the NDSDC init log. Still similar information as the provision log, a little bit different format. So it can help you out, give you some information. And then our Y2 log, we're not going to be seeing a lot of information in that. These two logs, specifically the provisioning log, will be what we want to follow. So I'll just let this continue to go. I'll check back in, and once we get through, and kind of go over a few details. Well, I guess I could go over it actually while it's happening. So this is configuring DNS, adding the replica. So this will be adding that replica of the O=Novell onto the server. Sometimes it might fail here. Just rerun it again. Usually the second time it succeeds. The SlapI plugins, usually this is pretty quick. I have seen though, if you have installed DSfW, removed DSfW, and then installed again, there can be a hang-up at this level, and it might be due to that the user objects already have been provisioned. Removing those attributes off of those users, that should help you continue with the install if you get hung up here, if everything seems to slow down on you. Adding the domain object, this is just getting some of the main objects specifically for DSfW, well, objects that AD has, getting those objects created into your tree so that it can function just like a AD domain. This right here, configuring your partition, the configuration partition. This will be, so in this adding the domain objects, it will create this configuration container, a schema container, and objects underneath it. This will create partitions for these. They will be moved outside of the domain. Again, because it's adding a replica, I have seen it fail there. Usually running it a second time gets it to proceed. It is usually just timing out before it's officially turned on. The replica is turned on, so not a big deal. The add configuration objects, again, some more objects within the configuration container, I believe is what happens there. Assigning rights, so this is going to like the container, modifying, adding rights. You might run into some issues here. If you do, generally it is, I believe we talked a little bit about it. It was this TID right here, 614 error. If you get that error, then just come through, grab this information, and this is a script. You can just copy and paste, and basically make this script. Call it the preferred name is fixed assign rights task. You can call it whatever you want. I believe this is also on the DSfWdo.com website. If we just check it out real quick, we can go over there and see what it is. Here it comes. So got under the DSfW website. If you're not familiar with it, it has some information. It's still kind of coming up. Missing some plugins. One of the reasons why. So right here in the download section, there are some different scripts, and here is a fixed DNS GUID script. If not, if this isn't up there yet, it should be up there shortly. This fix assign rights task PL. So look for it to be up here and download it from this the download section. Otherwise, like I said, just copy and paste it from the TID and run it. So assign rights. So Samify, that is going through and actually making so the objects, users, and groups, they are detected by the domain. You'll be able to log in with those users, with the user or the group. I'll have the necessary attributes. So it's really adding attributes to these objects. If you get a failure here, most likely it is due to a license object, a Novell license object. What you're going to need to do is remove that license object, then continue. If you don't do that, you can skip and go and do a domain control Samify command to re-Samify your container. However, there is a chance that not some of the objects that need to be Samified to continue on aren't Samified, namely the container object, the domain controller object, and so like the KRB TGT object. Let me just go through and show you real quick. So we'll probably have to log in. It's been a while. So if we look at objects, at a minimum you want to make sure this object is Samified, that you're inside your domain controller's container. This is your domain controller. You want to make sure that this object is Samified. Specifically, it has like the unique domain ID. If we look at it, pop up, go to the other tab, and we want to make sure that this there's an attribute called unique domain ID gets added to this object. It's not here because it hasn't been Samified yet. So anyway, this is one of the things that you'll want to check. And then inside the users container, we go over here, the users container, it's users. So inside here, like administrator, you want to make sure is, and then the KRB TGT user also. Make sure that it has the unique domain ID, SAM account name, some of those. If it's not, again, you might have some troubles. So if you do, then really you'll want to, instead of skipping this and doing the Samify later, you'll want to get those license objects deleted and run that the Samified objects task again. So restart, pretty simple. Restarting the set credentials for the account. That's setting the KRB TGT user's password. It's a random password that's generated. Kerberos, just getting Kerberos up and running, and then it's just updating your service configuration. So just making sure like rsync, sysvol, your GPO sync, that those processes will be set up and running. So it's creating cron jobs and just making sure everything's up. The cleanup will just there's a couple objects in your tree that's set up when you're installing DSfW. It'll clean those up, and it'll clean up specifically this container. If we go into our temp directory, you'll see a container DC init, or not container, a folder called DC init, and then whatever your server name is. So DC init OES11. So it will remove the contents of this directory. So etc and bar. Basically, these are where all your files get created first, and then copied actually onto the server and to the similar places. You basically could follow this path. You know, it's like the etc op novel and the var op novel. It's all right in here, and this is the path, but it's in the temp directory. So cleanup will clean that up for you. So as you can see here, Samify went through fine, restarting DSfW services. Not much to say on that. It's pretty simple. It's restarting. So we can see it right here. This is the NDSDC init log, and pretty much the same thing here in the provisioning log. And the YaST log, nothing going on because we're not doing anything in YaST now. So this will just help you understand what's happening, what's going on, what to troubleshoot the logs. Look for errors in these logs if you run into an issue. Also, when something as far as troubleshooting, you can take LDAP traces while running these tasks. Sometimes taking an LDAP trace or even a packet trace with the -i any for the interface on any, so that it does the 120 the loopback address. Sometimes that will also help. Usually an LDAP trace will help you in troubleshooting if a task goes wrong here. Also, the var log messages, another good log to tail and look at. So I hope this has helped you out. We're just about done. You can see all the updates, the cleanup, and once we get through that, DSfW is done. We'll do one more video on just verifying an install of DSfW. So as you can see, we are finished. If we come all the way down to the bottom, actually, let me just make that big. Come over. We have the finish button. Click on that, and we are done. Usually, when I'm done, again, I would recommend rebooting the server. We've already rebooted it once. I'd just like to make sure that it goes down and all the services come up properly after a reboot. So, all right, thanks for watching.